Hello, my name is Sarah Foley. I also go by my brand name, which is Vertical Blonde.
Lives they live today. She is an inspirational leader and an empowering speaker. So I want us to put our hands together and get loud to give a very warm welcome to Sarah Foley.
You guys competitive? Oh, yeah. Are you gonna kick their butt? Yeah. Are you guys gonna kick their butt? Yeah. Who's gonna win today? Which side? There's multiple rounds, and the rule is you gotta get as loud as possible. Each round, it's gonna get harder and harder to get loud. You guys ready? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. Nudge the person next to you and be like, we got this. We got this. We're gonna beat them. We're gonna beat them. Come on. Pump them up. Pump them up. All right, let's start that song over at a little bit like medium volume. All right, and I want you guys to dance, to jump, to get loud. As soon as I point to your side, that's game on. This side, game on. You ready? You ready? All right. Use whatever you got. And this side. This time you cannot use your voice to get loud. Are you ready? This side. All right. This side. All right, this time, no voice, no hands. Are you ready? You gotta get innovative here. You gotta get creative. Are you ready? Let's start over here. Go. What are you gonna do? Keep it going. Higher. Louder. There we go. All right, stop it. Over here. No voice, no hands. Go. 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 Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, stop it. Good. This is getting good. All right, this time you have to use something other than your body to generate the noise. Something around you. Get creative. Get innovative. What are you going to use to make noise? Let's think outside the box. I'm going to give you a second to really think about this one. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's start over here and go. Go! honest, like objective.
We agree with
What do you got? Which side?
This side.
Which side? Okay, so we're a little biased, right? But I will say, both sides pretty much killed it. Was that interesting to try and get loud in new ways? Yeah. Was that fun?
Yes.
Was that fun to innovate?
Yes.
Was that fun to kind of flip through this and be like, what's she gonna say next? What do we gotta do next? I think my favorite was this guy right here. Took off his shoes. He's clapping those shoes. I was like, I like this guy. That's amazing. That was absolutely fabulous. So as I'm gonna go through a story today. Okay, hold on a second. Here's some water. Shouting. Couldn't hear myself in my microphone over all the noise. I loved it. So my name is Sarah Foley. You did catch that already. And today I really want to take you on what I call a vertical journey and give you some insights to help you through the flips of life. Anyone in here feel like all of a sudden life has flipped you upside down in certain ways? You need some market flips. Is that flipping anybody up? South? Are you ready to flip it off? Are you ready to flip through it? Yeah? So as you go through the different flips of life, I want to give you sort of the strategy that I learned as I experienced and came back from and reinvented myself after my own flip. I'm going to move around a lot so you'll be able to see me. I know that I'm like right here eye level, but bear with me. So 4 years ago, I found myself flipping literally through the air. Like flipping through the air after this ATV had gone off the trail, hit a ditch, and started flipping. But I want to back up. Before I get to my flip, and while it's exciting, I feel like I really want to give you a pre-frame of what life was like before the flip. Life was perfect. I'm talking perfection. I had been dating this new guy, Sean, just a few months, about 6 months. And I was working at my dream job up in Park City. I was running the spa. I was the spa director. And I loved that title. Oh, I was the spa director. Like, I loved what it held for me. And I was 30 years old, and I was making more money than I'd ever made in my life. No one had moments of those perfections? You're like, everything's lined up. Nobody breathe. Like, don't mess it up. This is how I want it to stay forever. I don't want it to move. I don't want it to change. Don't move a muscle, right? So I'd gone down to Bryan Head with this new boyfriend, Sean, and another couple, and we were staying in the cabin. And the first morning we got up and we went out for this incredible hike. In fact, on that first slide, you can see this gorgeous hike. We're out in Bryan Head, and I felt like I was on top of the world. It seriously felt like prehistoric days, like dinosaurs were gonna walk by or something. It just felt so on top of the world, and I felt like I was on top of the world. And I turned to Sean in this moment, and I just say, my life is so perfect. There's nothing about it I would change. We finished up our hike. We finished up our moment. And it's a moment that I cherish so much. It was such a moment of perfection. So after we finished this picturesque moment, we went back down to the cabin, met up with the other couple, and we all got on four-wheelers. We were all on our own four-wheelers. And Sean says, I know you're not experienced in it. He said, I'm gonna keep you safe today, okay? I got a helmet for you. I'm gonna put you on the biggest, safest one. I'm putting you through like a little, for lack of a better word, crash course on how to use the machine. You'll be totally and completely safe. Okay, I trust you. Let's go. Game on. Right? Sean, to give some perspective on Sean, he was full of an adventure, and I was constantly white-knuckled. Like, all the time. I'm a planner, I want to know what to expect, and he's like, ta-da, this is what we're doing today. So we go out on these four-wheelers, and I'm starting to get the groove, and I'm starting to get momentum. I'm like, I dig it. Like, I'm feeling really good, I'm feeling really confident on this thing. And he says, we're just missing down this fire access road. It's super easy. Like, no crazy trails, nothing that you're going to have to be worried about. I said, cool. And at one point, this trail, this fire access road kind of went up and around a bend. Couldn't quite see what was on the other side. So Sean says, stay here. I'm going to go make sure it's safe. So he goes on up ahead with the other guy, Jim. And I stay back with the other girlfriend. Don't remember her name. she obviously didn't stick around very long with Jim. So I stay back behind, and all of a sudden I see Jim up at the top, and he's waving me up, and me and the other girl up. Good, you're good, come on up. So I said, okay, I'm on a four-wheeler, and I'm ready to go. And I start going up this hill, and as I come around the bend, I don't realize that Sean is coming down the bend to get me, to let me know that it's safe. So in those moments, you got no time to overanalyze. You got no time to think it through. You got no time to call your girlfriend and think that if this is a good idea or not. You got seconds to decide, what am I going to do? Now Sean, being experienced, he knew what to do. Got himself all the way to the side, the opposite side from where I was, got himself over to the left. He said, girl, like, he got himself out of the way. And as I'm making my decision, I can see I'm making the wrong one. Because my handlebars are already going to the right. Because my decision was, get off the trail. So as I'm turning right, my head goes back left, and I make eye contact with Sean. And I can see his panic, his pure panic. And then after that, all I see is ground and the sky and the ground and the sky and the ground and the sky as the front wheels have hit a ditch and this thing starts flipping on me over and over and over and over. And I feel like I'm screaming, but no sound's coming out. The only sound I hear is the crunching of bone and metal that I will never get out of my head. Just over and over, just thinking, when is this going to stop? Finally, it does. It throws me against this fallen tree, and I'm stunned, and I'm just kind of like, okay, don't move. And now I make eye contact with Sean once again, and he is running at me full speed with sheer terror on his face. The terror and the trauma of watching the entire thing take place and realizing he couldn't keep me safe. Everything he had done up to that point was to keep me safe. So I'm lying there, and in my head, I actually am pretty calm. I'm like, I'm gonna be fine. Like, this might be crazy right now, but I'm gonna be okay. Things like this don't happen to people like me. Like, I'm okay. You ever thought that? You're like, this kind of stuff, that's supposed to happen to somebody else. This is not supposed to happen to me. So he gets over there, I'm calming him down, because he's a wreck. I'm like, I'm gonna be fine. All I can feel though is like the pressure of this clavicle about to break through my skin as it snapped in half. And what I don't know is that Jim is down by my feet, pinching my toes, and realizing I can't feel his pinches, and I can't move my legs. So we wait an hour and a half for light flight to arrive. And once they do, they get me up in the helicopter. The sound of a helicopter of life flight, that sound will take you right back. Anyone else have that sound that takes you almost like back to the scene of the crime, scene of the accident? Yeah, it goes right back. Then they start pumping the morphine, and I'm like, good night, see you later, right? You're out. And they take me to Las Vegas Hospital because it's closer. And what I would find out later is that I made one phone call, and I made it to my mom. And she said, you sounded like a scared little girl. I said, Mom, the doctors think that if they can relieve the pressure, that I'll be able to walk again. Imagine hearing that as a mom. As a mom now myself, I can't imagine getting that phone call. Imagine getting that as a spouse or a friend. Imagine making the phone call yourself. They go into surgery, and time continues to move forward. Time continues. Time doesn't stop for you to heal. Time doesn't stop for you to figure things out. Time continues. And so over the course of months, I'm in hospitals and rehabs and figuring out how to do everything all over again. I had to figure out how to put my shoes on all over again. I had to figure out how to go to the bathroom again. I had to figure out how to drive again. I had to go to driver's ed all over again at age 30, right? I got my hand controls, but I'm like, I refuse to drive a minivan. Like, that is where I draw the line. No. Which I still, to this day, have not driven a minivan. So there we go. I got convertibles, I got BMWs, like, that's my style. So, life continues to go on. But something really interesting happens. That I, in my head, had a pretty ugly view about what life with a disability was supposed to look like. Think right now, when you think of a person with disabilities, do they look like this? Okay? Because they didn't for me. I call them all the uns of life, were these beliefs that I had. Unhappy, unhealthy, unemployed, unsuccessful, unattractive. And so over the course of the next 4 years, I went through this internal turmoil. Because on one hand, I was like, I'm none of those things. Me, before the accident, everything was perfect. I was the spa director, I was all living in my dreams going on at that point. I was loved, like everything worked out. I felt like I was happy, that I was healthy. I was feeling really successful. I thought I was pretty cute. So going through life, all of these did not line up with all of these other uns that I thought now life was supposed to be like. And so over the course of the 4 years, it was like this internal battle and this like grinding internally. And outside it was like, you're such an inspiration. And I'm smiling saying, I'm just trying to get through life, putting my shoes on again. I don't feel like an inspiration. And I would go home sobbing. I remember just getting all happy for the outside world, and as soon as I would get in my car and close the door, the tears would immediately fall. I couldn't figure out who I was now that my life involved a disability. Because the funny thing about the flips in our life is that we have these preconceived notions of what we think it means. So you're going through some kind of a flip. I'm sure at this point you guys have all kind of thought in your own life the flips that you've also experienced. Maybe in your past, maybe currently you're going through the flip right now. Yeah? But something is going on inside of you as well. That there's this internal turmoil of what you think that that's supposed to look like and who you thought you were. So one day, I'm in my bedroom, and I just gotten out of the shower, and I catch this reflection of myself in a full-length mirror, and I did not recognize myself. I was unhealthy, unhappy, unsuccessful, unemployed, and I felt very unattractive. I had literally become everything that I once thought about disability, because I didn't face that belief head on about what I thought it meant for me and what I was going to do about that fact. Because here's the thing about the flips you're going through. You can't change the fact of the flip, right? Whether it's the market, whether it's a relationship, whether it's divorce, whether it's your body, whether it's the flip of you have cancer. We experience these flips in our lives, and I call them kind of the big flips and the little flips. You got little flips of fender benders and minor breakups, and your dog has to go to the vet. But you've got big flips that completely flip your entire world and your entire view of yourself upside down. Who's been there? Who's experienced a big flip in their life? Who's going through the flip right now? Yeah, those flips are serious. I would say you guys are going through the flip in the market, would you say? The market has flipped you on your butt. Can I swear? On your butt. Butt does not sound as intense as the other one. Flipping you on your ass. Okay, so when you flip it upside, it's flipping everything upside down. It's flipping your income, it's flipping your mindset, it's flipping your view about yourself, because you're like, I thought I was on fire, but now this, I don't know what I am anymore. Yeah? You guys with me? Yeah. Okay then. So I'm going to take you through how I went from all of my uns to completely redefining disability for myself, for everyone that knows me, and I consider the world. You guys ready for that? Yeah. You want to redefine that flip on your terms? Yeah. Okay, so first step is your mirror moment. Right? This is your mirror moment. This is your awareness. This is where you get really honest of what beliefs are ruling my life. And to do this, I'm going to take you through a little bit of an exercise. So grab a piece of paper. If you don't have a piece of paper, what's wrong with you? What do you think you're going to take? Come on, get it from your neighbor. Okay, I want you to go horizontal. And then you're going to put a line right down the middle. Right down the middle. And I would do it horizontal, and I would actually rip it out of your notebook. And on the left side is the fact of the flip. Now this is where things get interesting. We want to extract the story that we're thinking about our flip from the flip itself. You guys get me? So if I put on the left side, let's just say someone's going through a divorce and they put, I'm going through a horrible divorce. Horrible would have to be X'd out because that's not a fact. That's her perception or his perception. Okay? So it'd have to be, I'm going through a divorce. Very simplified, very, very like cut and dry. No one can argue the other side of it. Yeah? That makes sense? So I want you to extract that. So let me hear it from you guys. What are some of the facts or the flips that you are going through? Participation's key, guys. Come on.
Market change.
Market change. The market has changed. That is a fact. Would everyone agree?
Yes.
Okay. What other facts and flips?
Inflation rates are rising.
We have inflation. Interest rates are rising. Yeah? What do we got over here?
I said banks closing.
Banks are closing. So that one I want you to strip away a little bit more because not all banks are closing.
Correct.
Right? So we want to define it a little bit clearer on what kind of banks are closing. Right? So what kind of banks, what are causing them to close? We can kind of really dumb it down almost so that it's super simplified because I could say not all banks. Right? So I can argue that. Is that making sense? All right, so turn to your neighbor and let them know what you put down for your flip. And if you can argue with your partner, argue with them. Make sure they've dumbed it down enough. Got them really simplified? Yeah? All right, bring it back. Could anyone argue with your partner to help them simplify a little bit more? She wanted to?
I wanted to.
Can he dumb it down a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay, so get it simplified. So what's your fact?
The fact that the fear of agents and what the market's doing.
Say that one more time.
Fear of agents and the way they're acting in the market.
But it's not all agents.
No, that's true.
So that's where we want to
That's
decipher.
what it takes.
Yep, exactly. So how do you want to define that for which agents, or how do you want to make it so that it's a really streamlined fact so I can't argue anyway?
Well,
shape, or form?
just the fact that what we do at Everest to elevate the agent to a better place is the remedy behind it. So you can argue because it's just a market. It's how we adjust to what's going on.
Right, so he's saying it depends on who you're with, and obviously here with Everest, you guys are adjusting.
It's what we do.
It's what you do. So when you said that there's a fear of agents, listen up guys, you're gonna want this. When you say that there's a fear of agents, I would find a way to get the fact of that a little bit more clear. Because it's not all agents.
Nope, it's
right?
not at all.
And so how would you define the ones that are in fear?
I think they're not really looking at the opportunity that's existing.
So pessimistic agents
Very pessimistic.
are in fear.
It's just how they relate to what's going on in the news, in the papers, clientele being fearful and what they're going to do with it, without question.
So there is a tendency of fear within agents in the
For
market.
sure.
Okay, so there we go. So we've got a tendency. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, so everyone good with your fact? Now, obviously this is a flip that has slowed you down in some way, shape, or form, or you would not have written it down. So on that right side, I want you to kind of go on a rant of every limiting belief that you have. Now, all of my optimistic, I got my mindset into you, Rick, get out, like I want you to really go negative on this one. Anything, I know he's gonna like rebuttal in every positive way form, and I love it. I love it, but I want you to think of every limiting belief that you have, right? So agents are full of fear, banks are closing, because it's not all agents and it's not all banks. But when you think that in your head, banks are closing and agents are totally full of fear and it's a really stressful time, these are all limiting views and someone can rebuttal them. But if you have that, I call it like your whack-a-mole. As soon as you start to get momentum, that limiting belief comes in and goes, well, bam, and whack-a-moles you on the head and takes you right back down where you started. Okay, so that's where the inner turmoil is coming in. So we've got a fact on the left side that we're literally stripping away from the story. And this is great because you can do this with anything. You can do this with your kids. Say like, what's the fact? What really, really happened? Take your perception out of it, and now let's look at it. So that's what I started to do. I started to realize that I had a story in my head about what disability meant, and I was becoming that story. So if I could take the story out of it and say, I've got a disability, what am I going to do with this? But first, I had to get really aware, that mirror moment, of everything limiting that I had in my head that was preventing me from moving forward. So on your right side, I want you to go through and kind of go on a bit of a rant. Everything that is preventing you from moving forward through this flip, whether it's something you heard from somebody else, whether it's just kind of something that nags you in the back of your mind, whether it's something that like you're telling yourself every day, like market sucks, market sucks, market sucks, market sucks. Right? Like what are you saying to yourself on a regular basis? And this could also kind of filter out into other areas of your life, right? I'm not healthy enough to do this, right? Like people aren't taking me serious because I'm not taking me serious. Or I am not smart enough. I'm not like one of these other agents. I can't change and adapt and innovate in this market because I don't know how. Like all of those limiting beliefs, I want you to just really go on a rant for yourself and give this as your mirror moment. Those mirror moments are your moments of impact. They're the moments that you change. They're the moments that you change direction. But you cannot do it until you get really uncomfortably honest with yourself. And that's what I did in the mirror that day. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some of these limiting beliefs that come up?
Not enough time.
Not enough time. It's a great one. What do you got? No? What's the limiting belief that comes up?
Age?
Age. Anyone feel that one? You're like, I'm getting too old for this. Okay. What do you got right here?
It's just not working.
It's not working. Things are not working. What do you got?
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure. What if I fail? Right? What do you got right here?
It's my first day in real estate.
It's my first day in real estate. What's gonna buy for me? Go to job Thursday next day. I love it. What do you got?
Not enough time.
Not enough time. I do not have enough time. Now I have to learn all those other things and think I gotta prospect and cold call. Oh. Right? What do you got?
How do you fail at things before?
Losing trust in yourself. Yeah? Yeah, we'll lose trust in ourselves. Go for it.
Can I handle success?
Can I really, oh my gosh, who feels that one? Can I really handle it if it goes well? Oh, That scares me the most. Like, what if this goes right? Ooh, right? What do you got right here?
The uncertainty.
The uncertainty. Like, what is tomorrow going to be like? If today changed that much, what about tomorrow? Anyone feel that? What do you got right here?
I'm a bad self-starter.
Ah, yes, I'm a bad self-starter. I can't start things on my own. Anyone a perfectionist in here? Anyone that's like, will you just tell me what to do so I can do it perfectly? Right? Yeah, usually it's all the girls. We're like, just tell me what to do. What do you got right here?
They took all mine.
Well, what's another one? Or just share another one. We probably need to hear it again.
I put on here that a lot of people say that homeownership's now no longer attainable.
Anyone feel that one? They think that it's now an impossible thing that you guys are trying to sell. Yeah. What about you?
It's super simple, but I'm scared.
I'm scared. It changes every day. I'm scared. Yeah, what about for you, Marissa?
Oh my gosh.
Sure, Marissa? Yeah, girl.
Mine is like, I've been trying to do like videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like my hair doesn't look perfect. Like I've literally gone in the office, turned off the lights, put my like light lamp on, and so yeah, just judgment, yeah.
Self-judgment. Oh my gosh, who feels it? Who feels it? You're like, I'm trying to do it, but I'm totally, oh, whatever. You guys lie about everything else then too. Come on, we all judge ourselves. I think I should see every hand up. Thank you for your honesty. The ones that raise their hand. Come on now. All right. So, yeah, you got that, Rick?
Oh,
yeah.
Every time I look in the mirror.
Right. But the thing that was staring at me the most in that mirror moment was my health. It was my health. All I saw was, they call it the parabelly. As you become paralyzed, I don't have any function from my rib cage down. And so what happens is that your spine starts to shrink and you kind of get compressed and the belly has nowhere to go but out. So you start to look about 6 months pregnant. This is really bad when you're a guy. You're like, I don't have any excuse, right? So I saw my parabelly and I was like, we gotta start there. Like, first and foremost, I do not feel good in my skin. I do not feel like I have the energy to even do any of the other goals. I gotta start there. But I feel really stupid going to the gym. I hate all the eyes on me. I hate, feeling like I'm gonna do something wrong. So I got myself a trainer. And don't you love when fate puts you with like the exact thing that you really need? Oh,
Yes.
Those are good moments, yeah. So I said, okay, I need a trainer. I'm at the desk, I'm like, ready to go, I need a trainer. I said, okay, there's one that's working right now, I'll go grab him. I said, okay. So he comes around the corner, and no joke, he is 6'8", 7.5, 8. This guy is massive. I'm like, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Like, he's so tall. But he was previously, he had worked as a nurse. And I said, I got rules for you. And he's like, okay, what's happening? I said, I need you to kick my butt. I need you to get super creative. And I need you to help me not feel stupid in the gym. I said, game on, let's go. I said, okay, I'll see you next week. And I was like, yeah, that's what she left. I couldn't even stay that first day. But I signed up that day, and what happened was we met 4 times a week. And we were both babies in like the personal development world. We both were just like wide-eyed, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Like we were just kind of learning a little bit. And I was like, I know that like my words have power, and that's about it, And every time we'd get together and we would share what we learned that day, and like, oh, this podcast and this book, and this is what I'm learning, and can you believe this? And we just started to banter back and forth. Who you surround yourself with and those conversations you're having, you guys, that is literally step number 1. Like, get yourself some accountability, and you let them know, plain and simple, what your goals are up front. He said, what are your goals? I said, I know exactly what my goals are. I said, I want to be able to do 1 pull-up. I said, I want to be confident enough to wear a 2-piece bikini. And I wanted to see the dent. You know the dent in your arm? You got like the bicep and triangle. Yeah, I wanted the dent. I'd never had the dent. I'd never been able to do a pull-up before. And I was like, those are my rules. Those are my goals. So letting your people know what your goals are and get really specific. You say you want more money, challenge that person. Say, how much more money? Right? What exactly do you want to do? You get super specific with that goal, and you get super specific with what you need help with, and that is where you're gonna be able to build those relationships, but you start having the right conversations with the right kinds of people, like you are who you surround yourself with. So we had these amazing conversations,
had this awareness that was happening. And then slowly, I started to understand this new ability I had. Because I started to redefine my body. I started to redefine my confidence. Started to redefine how I showed up, the energy that I had. And something hit me. As I was going through the gym, I always had eyes on me, no matter what. People are curious, how's she gonna do that work? What's she doing over there now? How's she doing that pull-up? What's happening? What are they doing today? Like, eyes were always on me because we always gravitate to what's different. You know what I mean? Just talking to Sam today, he's got the bow tie. And I'm like, we always gravitate to what's different. I'm like, I love the bow tie, right? So that was something that stood out. And before I started to really pour into myself, I'd be like, don't look at me. I would hate it, like, get your eyes off me. I don't want to have any attention. I don't want to be seen. And it was because I still saw my limitation. I didn't see it as a gift. When you flip that fact into being a gift, your entire world opens up. And I thought, if I've got everyone's eyes on me, I got their attention. I got a stage. I could say whatever I want. I could redefine disability. Like, I could be the face of, like, the cool disability, right? And so I started to have these habits of reinvention. Write that down, you guys. What are your habits of reinvention? How are you reinventing yourself on a regular basis? You guys ever heard the saying, it's not the goal, it's who you become in the process? Yeah. People don't talk about the becoming part enough. Because we get really high on the motivation of, oh yeah, I'm becoming this like amazing person, right? But it's the becoming where it's gritty. It's the becoming where you've got to dig deep. It's the becoming where you get stripped away from everything you once knew and you have to start filling in the gaps yourself. It's the becoming that's uncomfortable. It's the becoming that you have to learn something new that you never thought you were going to have to learn again. It was the becoming when I had to learn how to put my shoes back on my feet. It's the uncomfortable part that no one wants to pour their energy into because we start to self-criticize that we should already be where we want to go. That sound familiar? So I realized that I had to become someone different. I had to think differently. I had to show up differently in order to become this next level version of myself. And so underneath your fact, on the left-hand side, make kind of a line under the fact and think about, who do I really have to become in order to make that fact work for me? If that fact was placed literally in my life on purpose for a purpose, who would I have to become? What would I have to learn? Or what would I have to double down on? What things do I already know that I gotta double down on? What things do I need to invest in? What things do I need to learn? Who do I need to be around? This is what I call the ability section. So first is that awareness, and second is your ability. This is the becoming, you guys. This is where the juice, this is where like all the grit and the resilience and the fire is forged. When you have to dig down into a part of you that you didn't even know existed, that's pure fire. In fact, I call it gold. As Ruby said, there was a book that I got to be part of. It's called Your Second Act, Chapter 9, all about vertical lawn, okay? And I got to have this really great conversation with Patricia Heaton. And she said, you know what you are? I said, what? She said, you're Kintsugi. I was like, okay, I'll be Kintsugi. What's Kintsugi? What's happening? She said, Kintsugi is this beautiful Japanese art form. And what they believe is that if a plate breaks, if a bowl breaks, that the break is celebrated as part of its history. And so they don't toss out the bowl, they don't toss out the plate. They literally get this special glue that is gold. And they glue it back together with this golden glue. She said, you are Kintsugi. You know how to fill your cracks with gold. That is the becoming, my friends. If you can figure out how to become that person, figure out those abilities that you are shying away from because you have this other belief that is guiding you before you even get to those new abilities, you become golden. You become gold in the market. You become gold in your life. But you have to learn how to use your facts to your advantage. And you can't do that until you expel the old story and then you create a new one based on how you show up. And the only thing that debunks those old beliefs, anyone have a guess? Action. Aligned action is the only way to then take the whack-a-mole thing back in your own hands. You say, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm smashing the old story. It's not smashing me anymore. And it takes step by step. But it starts with those habits of reinvention. Habits of reinvention. Think about that in your own life. If you don't know where to start with your physical health. Because if you don't have the energy to get through your day, you think you got the energy to fulfill your dreams? You're gonna want to take a nap. And I know this room, they don't nap. They don't nap. Yeah? I get that sense. So underneath that fact is all these new abilities. What are some of these new abilities that you either need to get better at or learn? What are these actions? I wrote down a few of myself, but I didn't get the participation I wanted. What do we got? Name of the game, participation. What?
Schedule.
Participation, schedule.
Yeah.
Making a schedule. Sticking to the schedule. I love that. Amen to that. High five, Rick. What else we got? Commitment. And what does that look like? A schedule, yeah. Having accountability, getting that accountability partner, saying, dude, keep me accountable to my goals. Like, hold me there. Hold me at a higher standard than I hold myself, and I'll do the same for you. That's what my trainer was to me. And after a time, guess what happened? I had this drastic transformation in my body to the point that I got flooded with messages from girls in wheelchairs saying, how the heck did you do it? And Jake and I, my trainer, started a business together, helping hundreds of women transform their bodies and their happiness, called Disability Icon Transformation. You never know what it Because I learned something really, really special. You guys ready for this? You may want to write this one down, because this one is freaking gold. What you think is in the way is the way. What you think is limiting you is literally the becoming process of you debunking it. It is there for you. You think it is in the way, but it is just step number one. Because all of those beliefs you have, they're just opinions. Someone tells me that the market's down 50%. I say, you're telling me we still have a chance? Yeah? Okay then, let's get that other 50%. What else? Here's my list. Getting physically healthy with vitality, so working out. I will say that the best way to start a workout or program or getting better at one is to say that I'm working out because I love my body. You change it from a punishment to a because I love you, I'm treating you well, I'm nourishing you, I'm moving you. I'm getting energy back in my body and using your goals as your leverage, not your body. Game on, you guys. Prospecting. From what I hear, that's not very fun. So how are you going to get good at it? How are you going to change your view about it? Maybe you make it fun in some way, shape, or form. I'll leave that up to you guys. Your organization of leads. Cold calling, getting in new rooms, getting rid of negative relationships, changing your language, making new connections, changing your look, clothes, hair. Perhaps you need just a makeover. Sometimes that makes you feel better. Healing relationships, processing trauma, taking sales classes, updating your ways to delight previous clients, elevating your team, changing your routine, get a trainer if you need to at the gym or a coach in whatever area you're struggling in. Say you're sorry. Forgive that person you're resisting. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your digestion all tightened up. Forgive them right now, right here. Say, I love you and I forgive you. You done? Okay, now moving on. Moving your mind, learning what you didn't know, sharpening your skills, and being an opportunistic person. Being happy and joyful no matter what. Okay.
Mindset.
What else? Mindset.
Meditation.
So these are, meditation. What are you doing? What does that process of becoming look like? Now, if this fact was working in your favor, and you were able to fulfill all of these things, all of these new abilities at your highest peak, what would be your new beliefs about the fact? Turn your paper over and put it on the back half of where the fact is. What would you believe about the fact now? So, how would an opportunistic person think about the market changing? Market of opportunities. Let's hear more. Weeding out the people that can't handle it? I would say that helps with your competition. Like, bye-bye. See you, Felicia. Right? What else? Come on, I'm not even in real estate. I know this.
Market of learning.
What is it?
Market of learning.
Market of learning. Oh my goodness, look at all the things you get to learn. Look at these opportunities for you to actually sharpen skills that you didn't need a few months ago when things were just getting handed to you. Oh, does that sound familiar? Going from perfect to disabled? Woo! The minute I started taking that back in my own hands, when I started to redefine it on my terms, I said, this is what it's going to mean for me. It's going to mean I am going to completely debunk every old belief that I thought about disability just in the way I show up. I will be happy, I will be healthy, and true happiness. I'm not just putting on a fake smile. I've got happiness in my soul. You know that kind of happiness, yeah? Happiness that you're just like, ooh, I love today. What's today bringing? Health. Health is a choice regardless of the state of your body. It is a choice. Successful. And I didn't go from unemployed to employed. I went from unemployed to self-employed. That's good. Right?
I was going to say it's an exciting time.
Yes.
Because if we've allowed the material world to focus and make us who we are, then we need to check that. People are buying who we are and our confidence and our spirit. You know, the product is just secondary, realistic. But we don't have that identity inside ourselves to express this kind of consciousness. Then we're doing ourselves a disservice. This is exciting. It's a change. Everything's brand new, you know, instead of habitual. So like I said, it's wonderful. And I love what you're saying.
Thank you. I love what you just said. Thank you. Thank you so much love. It's a time of reset. After the whole COVID thing, didn't you kind of feel that that was like a time of reset? You kind of appreciated this time to just like reset with your family, reset your standards, reset what you really wanted out of life, reset what was important. This is a time of reset. You can either think that it's over or the beginning. It's up to you. But your results will show exactly how you feel. whether you think it's over or the beginning. The beginning is something new. And he hit on something really interesting of they're buying who you are. So if you don't love who you are, do you think they're going to sell yourself on that? You got to get in touch with yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to really appreciate and respect yourself due to what you've done to become this version of yourself. So here's where we get really fun. As I was going through with my trainer, we came up and we were doing all this kind of mindset work and business development, personal development, all this stuff while we were working out. And I started a little blog. And this blog, I wanted to just share inspiring stories of things that had happened and how life was really opening up. And I knew that my words had power. And I really, really wanted to name it something that was going to empower me. And I came up with Vertical Blonde. And Vertical Blonde means so much to me. It means that like my higher self, my vertical self, always knows what's best. Tapping into myself and trusting myself again was key. Trusting myself, not these beliefs about what I thought about my circumstances. Because here's the thing, we will never outperform or even the dog agrees, we will not outperform or outlive our current beliefs about ourselves or our situation. I'll say it again, we will never outperform or outlive our current beliefs about ourselves or our situation. You will not perform in this business higher than what you believe about yourself. So that's where you start. You build trust within yourself. But the funny thing happened when I started calling my blog Vertical Blonde. I started kind of calling myself Vertical Blonde. And I noticed that when I tapped into this version of myself, it was like I had already become everything I wanted. And I do this little thing to kind of like call her in, and it's just a simple shoulder roll. No one really knows what I'm doing. But it's like, I need you right now. I need that extra ump. I'm limiting myself, or I'm doubting myself. And then over time, that line sort of blurred of like, who's Sarah and who's Vertical Blonde, right? It's a version of myself. It's not some alter ego. It's not something outside of me. It's not Clark Kent versus Superman. It's a part of me. It's a part of me that's always been there, but it needed permission to come out. So at the top of the left-hand side, over your fact, I want you to come up with a name today and a slight movement that you could do, even in a meeting, that you could call it in like that they wouldn't even know. Whether it's a shoulder roll, whether you just do a quick squeeze of your hand, whether you kind of curl your toes and release them. Something that's going to anchor this in. But the biggest part is separating ourselves from that old story. Of realizing that it is in our hands to redefine our circumstances and reinvent ourselves as life flips us upside down. Because I've noticed that 3 things happen when people endure a flip. 1, they die slowly. They just keep going down. 2, they start to live as comfortably as they can because they don't want another flip in their life. They don't pursue dreams. They don't pursue hopes. They just get comfortable. And of course, there's a 3rd. And the 3rd is that they completely reinvent themselves. This is your time for reinvention. This is not a time to die slowly. Please don't die slowly. Please do not get comfortable. Use it as a time of reinvention. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to tear this in half. So if you want to fold it first so you get a really nice tear, because I want you to be able to hold on to these pieces. Kind of fold them, put the nails down the side. If you didn't follow directions, so you're probably having a hard time with how to fold your paper. Just saying. You're like, I don't know, I wrote it all over. Well, I told you left, right. Isabel. All right, go and rip those 2 papers in half. I'm calling you out. Rip those 2 2 sheets in half. So take on number 2 and come up slowly. Now, the old belief. First of all, I want you to put the one with the fact and your, I call it your iconic identity. Put that down next to you. The one with the old belief. I want everyone to stand up. No, this isn't it. This isn't it. I want you to start crumbling this paper. I want you to get it as small as possible. Crumble up that old belief. You need to roll it around in your hands. Get it super, super, super tiny. Get it really, really small. There we go. Today you are releasing this old story. But first, I want you to take a look at it in your hand. It's tiny. It cannot hurt you unless you allow it to hurt you. You have the